For more analysis, I'm joined this morning by Andreas Hoefert, Chief Economist at UBS Wealth Management. We're lucky to nail him down while he's passing through Hong Kong en route back to Zurich. Mr. Hoefert, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
To come down from what was expected, what was 3% to just a smidgen of growth, 0.2%. Is this really indicative of not just South Korea, but a lot of economies like it? Should we worry?
Yeah, I think what we are seeing is that after having bounced back quite dramatically from the trough we went in Q4 of 2008 and Q1 of 2009, now these economies are back on trend, maybe slightly below trend. So it's a kind of disappointment still.
And does this define where we're going to be going, sort of bumping along for the next few quarters?
I think so, because frankly, after this huge stimulus package we had, now we are still waiting for the internal demand for most of this economy to pick up. And in some of this economy, obviously, this internal demand is not picking up.
Mm-hmm. This, of course, Korea, of course, is an interesting case study of itself. I mean, they do so many of the big things, some massive industries, ships, cars, very, very, how can I turn them, durable goods. A lot of their hopes there have been pinned to recovery in demand in external markets, not just inside. True, they got tens of millions of people, but you can only soak up so many Hyundai ships and so many Daewoo cars in a country that size. So they're very dependent on the outbound sort of trade process. What is this? What sort of label or what sort of indication does this give us about external demand in the rest of the world outside Korea?
I would say what is still missing currently in the world economy, and people are not really aware of it, is the U.S. consumer. It's still not around, and obviously Korea is also exporting a lot to the U.S. So this explains why those exports numbers are still not very good.
So for all the talk about decoupling, we really do need to watch the U.S. numbers. And if the demand isn't there, if the demand is lukewarm, if there is more, do you believe there's deleveraging to come in the U.S.? That's going to be a problem. I
think, frankly, the U.S. consumer is highly indebted. The U.S. consumer is confronted with huge unemployment, so the U.S. consumer won't be there really to support the world economy. People are relying now on the hope that China will do, but the Chinese consumption is a quarter of the U.S. consumption, so you need 4 times as much consumption growth in China to just overset the lack of consumption in the U.S.
So what kind of diagnosis do you give to stimulus packages then? It looks like demand has not systemically taken grasp, that a lot of this sort of synthetic help, a lot of these injections have really not had the intended effect. I'm getting somewhat of a very suppressed sort of view of the world from you today.
Yes, actually, I think especially in the Western world, more true than in Southeast Asia, but in the Western world, those stimulus package, they have obviously help to get the economies out of a recession, and most of those economies are out of a recession. But I don't think that this is the sign that most of those economies will be back on the trend which we had previously before the financial markets meltdown.
Okay, Andreas.